guys, I wanted to come on here to talk about very quickly heartbreaks. It was a subject that came up on the retreat on the weekend. New love, old loves, heartbreaks, happiness, the fear of having heartbreaks, like everything. We talked about everything. You have amazing women together. We all have experiences. We're going to share them. And as much as we didn't do the journaling that I was hoping for, and we just shared organically, which was great. But after the retreat, I did some journaling and, getting back into my writing and really even working on my new book, actually looking at how women have perceived heartbreak will be something really powerful, because for us it's also a chemical thing. It's a hormonal thing. But feelings and, emotions and psychology are very much connected. We feel and we think and we rationalize. Sometimes we rationalize too much. Sometimes we don't rationalize enough. So whatever the spectrum of these feelings is, we have to pay attention to them. But heartbreak is what is an heartbreak? And although heartbreaks are really hard, and they definitely contribute to many chemical reactions in the body, including a very low endorphin and dopamine, which actually can make us a little bit depressed for a little while. They also are an opportunity. So hear me out. When we have a heartbreak, it's an opportunity to make our heart bigger. So I've written this on my Instagram actually quite a few times, because I think a heartbreak for me has been a really long process. But when you realize that your heart is so, you can feel, and that you can actually break it, it's an opportunity to glue these broken parts together with something beautiful, so that you can actually make it bigger, and then you can contain more. In Kabbalah we talk about enlarging the vessel to actually hold more of the light of the Creator, because the light of the Creator is this infinite light. We can only hold as much as we are basically apt to. Our container is only so big, right? But through life, if we make the effort, if we do the work, our container becomes bigger, so we can hold more light. And I think it's the same with the heart. And in a way, maybe the heart is exactly where the light of the Creator resides. I don't know. I'm just looking at it from a very philosophical part, but also just a beautiful metaphor for not closing down, right? It's easy when we get hurt that we would just want to shut down. We don't want to feel again. I actually, at some point I even heard myself repeating something that a friend of mine said, which is not right. It says, you should never love somebody more than they love you. And as much as I think that's obviously a protective mechanism, and by the way, this person is a man, so a man really do struggle with dealing with emotions, and this is a protective mechanism. I think for me it's really paramount to be honest about the fact that modern love can be really, really challenging, and there are things that I agree with and other things I don't agree with. I definitely agree with the fact that we have to be authentic. I agree with the fact that we have to be honest. I agree with the fact that we have to look after ourselves, because if we don't do that, we can't look after anybody else. But at the same time, I also think we need to sometimes make efforts, and in a positive way, sacrifices, not in a negative way, but as in give it time and allow for the space for another person to show up and prove themselves, right? Because everybody obviously is different, has different times. And for me, that was definitely, when I think about my marriage and the end of it, I mean, of course I'm sad. I had a person that I thought I was going to spend my entire life with. And for many years, we really were happy, and of course, it came with the fact that I was holding the space at the expenses sometimes of what I felt I wanted. But equally, I was happy to do it, and so that's where I was at the time. And when it became unsustainable for me, because when I got sick, I realized that I was alone and I had to look after myself, and that I actually didn't have the support that I thought I had. I had to make choices. And I found a journal entry, which is why diaries are so important, by the way, which I never go back and write. I read. I sometimes I don't even know what I wrote because my handwriting is shocking. But I saw this 4 pages, so I definitely was in a place where I was complaining that I was feeling so unseen and unsupported. I had COVID and I was exhausted, and that Kyle was just prioritizing himself and not getting up and feeding the dogs and taking care of them, which I was doing even when I was feeling like crap, just for like the time. It wasn't something that was going to be long term, but he was not just doing it because obviously it didn't work straight away when we moved here to Portugal. We went through a transition, like a year where it didn't work, and when it started working in 2021, to be honest, the work was very slow because they started this new fund, and so it took time. Now he's working a lot more, and so the sleeping until 12 is just not an option anymore. But equally, that was like he adapts to things when he has to for himself, is never for others. That was one of the biggest things for me that I just felt really lonely about, and this was one of them, and I read it in my diary, and I was so angry. I'm angry that I just feel like I can't be looked after. And then I'm even gaslit by being told that I don't allow people to look after me. And in a way, in a subconscious way, actually it's true, because when I see people like disappointing me because they're not looking after me for whatever reason, because when I ask I'm too much, then I just shut down and I just look after myself, and I'm fiercely independent, but at the same time I don't want to become hard. And so, when I think about what is my next relationship going to look like, well, I definitely want a partner and not a baby. If I wanted a baby, I would have had one. And I also want to feel like I matter, So all these things came up, and I think this is where we have to actually understand what heartbreaks are for us and how we cannot become shut down, but also where we can also improve ourselves, right? Like what we need and what we want as complete validity, and we can share it and we can say it because it's our right to do that. So I really feel like we need to talk about these things a little bit more, and actually I would love to hear from you, because if I'm gonna put it in the book, I don't want it to just be my opinion, because the book is great, and if on the nutrition side I'm looking at science and what science says about all the things we're confused about, then on the emotional side I know there are many caveats too, but I want the experiences of the ladies out here, and even the gentlemen really, because it's a human experience, not a gender experience. So yeah, maybe you can share under this post or can email me. I'll leave my email address in the post, and you can just tell me what you think.